All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, at the start of the 2022 college football season, literally days away, want to talk about the teams who I feel should be in the top 25 heading into this season. Now, number one, I'm going to go with Ohio State. And for me, the Buckeyes have all of the talent and they should be motivated for a strong showing this year after they didn't win the Big Ten last year, as well as get to the college football playoff. And for head coach Ryan Day, you think about some of the talent that he has assembled on the offensive side of the football alone with quarterback CJ Stroud, running back Travion Henderson, and of course, wide receiver Jackson Smith and Jingba. And this talent is definitely going to keep the Buckeyes among the top teams in the nation all year long. Number two, I'm going with the Crimson Tide of Alabama. And after going 13-2 last year, don't expect the Tide to slow down. Two tough losses for Alabama. They lost at Texas A&M, and then of course they lost in the national championship game to Georgia. And of course, had they not lost the top two receivers in the last two games of the year, we probably would be talking a little bit different about Alabama heading into this season. But nonetheless, for head coach Nick Saban, he once again has a litany of talent, which includes quarterback Bryce Young. And then on the defensive side, with Will Anderson, Dallas Turner, and Henry To'oTo'o in that front seven. Number three, I'm going to go with the team that beat Alabama in the national championship game. I'm going to go with Georgia. The defending champs, in my opinion, they're in a good spot to repeat. I know that they lost a ton of talent on the defensive side of the ball from last year's team, but for head coach Kirby Smart, you have a veteran quarterback in Stetson Bennett, one of the premier tight ends in the nation in Brock Bowers. And at Georgia, you lose talent, yes, but they consistently recruit, and it's not going to take the Bulldogs that long to get it going once again. Number four, I'm going with Texas A&M, and you just have to wonder if this is the year that the Aggies can break through in the SEC West for head coach Jimbo Fisher. You got to break in a new quarterback. There is talent to replace there, but nonetheless, Texas A&M is a very talented ball club. Number five, I'm going to go with Michigan State. Mel Tucker got this team to an 11-win campaign last year, and they're definitely going to look to build off of that. You have quarterback Peyton Thorne, you have wide receiver Jaden Reed, and you have three seniors on that offensive line, which is going to be big for them in the Big Ten. Number six, I'm going to go with Notre Dame. And for the Fighting Irish, the Marcus Freeman era has begun in South Bend, and he does have a tough act to follow in Brian Kelly. Got to break in a new quarterback, but you look at the talent on that defensive side of the ball for the Fighting Irish, which includes linebacker JT Bertrand and edge rusher Isaiah Foskey. Number seven, I'm going to go with the Wolverines of Michigan. And you ask yourself, is Michigan back? They won the Big Ten last year, got to the college football playoff. They lost some talent, lost both of their coordinators. But for the Wolverines, they still have head coach Jim Harbaugh. You have quarterback Cade McNamara, and running back Blake Corum. And that's going to give Michigan a good opportunity to make some noise in the Big Ten this year. Number eight, I'm going to go with Baylor. And for head coach Dave Aranda, he's looking to make a consecutive top five finishes for the Bears. Now, Baylor has an experienced offensive line, and I also look at senior middle linebacker Dylan Doyle to have an impact for a Bears team that some people feel have enough to win the Big 12. Number nine, sticking in the Big 12, I'm going to go with the Cowboys of Oklahoma State. Now, Oklahoma State won 12 games last year, but they did it with their defense, which was ranked fourth in the nation. You got some talent to replace on that side of the ball, but you still have defensive end Colin Oliver, and you have a veteran quarterback in Spencer Sanders. Number 10, I'm going to go with the Utes out of Utah. And the defending Pac 12 champs still, or once again, have a talented team, rather. You think about what Kyle Whittingham, their head coach, has done during his tenure there. You have quarterback Cam Rising and running back Tavion Thomas, who is an absolute stud. Number 11, I'm going to go with Clemson out of the ACC. And you have to ask yourself, are the Tigers poised to make another run at the national title? You got DJU at quarterback. A lot of ups and downs last year for the youngster. What's he going to be able to do now that he has a year under his belt as a starting quarterback for Clemson? Sophomore running back Will Shipley should have an impact on this offense. There's still talent on the defensive side of the ball with outside linebacker Trenton Simpson and defensive end Miles Murphy. But of course, no Brent Venables as the defensive coordinator, as he's not a head football coach at Oklahoma. And speaking of Oklahoma, I have the Sooners ranked at number 12, as it is a new era for their program under Brent Venables. You have Dylan Gabriel at quarterback, the UCF transfer. And I think this is going to be a year where Venables and the Sooners get their footing in a new system. Number 13, I'm going to go with the Wildcats out of Kentucky. And they won 10 games last year for head coach Mark Stoops, but let's see what they can do for an encore. You have some talent on this team, and typically when you think about talent at Kentucky under Mark Stoops, you think about it on the defensive side of the ball. But there's talent on the offensive side of the ball for the Wildcats with quarterback Will Lewis and running back Chris Rodriguez Jr. Number 14, I'm going to go with BYU, and they've been flying under the radar under head coach Kalani Sitake as they've gone 21-4 in the last 2 years. And you have a veteran quarterback in Jaron Hall. I also like wide receiver Puka Nakua as well as linebacker Ben Bywater. And you look at BYU, they have some very interesting games on their schedule. They take on Baylor on the 10th of September. They're at Oregon on the 17th of September. They host Utah State on the 29th of September, and the Aggies have a very good team in the Mountain West. They'll take on Notre Dame in Las Vegas on the 8th of October. They'll clash with Arkansas on the 15th of October, and then they're at Boise State on the 5th of November. Number 15, I'm going to go with Wake Forest, and they're looking to once again be a force in the Atlantic Coast Conference, but it's going to be tough without Sam Hartman. You still got wide receiver A.T. Perry, and you have three seniors on that offensive line. And then I look at defensive end Rondell Bothroyd to have an impact for the Demon Deacons as well. Number 16, I'm going to go with the Razorbacks out of Arkansas. And in a very quick time, Arkansas head football coach Sam Pittman has really gotten things going in Fayetteville. You think about quarterback KJ Jefferson, one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in the nation, and he's going to be behind an experienced offensive line with three seniors and two juniors. Number 17, I'm going to go with Penn State. And for the Nittany Lions, they typically tend to be a perennial top 20 team under head coach James Franklin, and I think that trend continues. Quarterback Sean Clifford is back for his final campaign in Happy Valley, and you still have running back Kevon Lee, and you have wide receiver Parker Washington, who is one of the better deep threats in the Big Ten Conference. Number 18, I'm going to go with North Carolina State out of the ACC. And for the Wolfpack, they have plenty of talent, but let's just see if they can break through and make some noise in the ACC. Quarterback Devin Leary is as solid as they come. And you think about junior linebacker Drake Thomas, another impact player for the Wolfpack. Number 19, I'm going to go with Utah State. And the Aggies, I think they have enough to win the Mountain West. Let's see if they can win the Mountain West and also get to a New Year's Six bowl game. You look at quarterback Logan Bonner with what he can do, running back Calvin Tyler Jr., and it's nothing but seniors and juniors on that offensive line. And then safety Hunter Reynolds is one of the better defensive backs in the Mountain West Conference. Number 20, I'm going to go with Mississippi State, and there's definitely some excitement for this program and Mike Leach in Starkville. You look about quarterback Will Rogers and how he can pass that football around, and you have an offensive line that's full of seniors and juniors. And then on the defensive side for Mississippi State, I look at linebackers Nathaniel Watson and Jet Johnson to have an impact for this Bulldogs defense. Number 21, Hook 'em Horns, and I'm going with the Texas Longhorns. And the thing is, will they be able to have a strong start, but more importantly, a stronger finish? Quinn Ewers, excuse me, is going to be the starting quarterback for Texas and head coach Steve Sarkisian. But most importantly, you have running back Bijan Robinson, who is one of the better, if not the best, ball carrier in the Big 12 Conference. Wide receiver Xavier Worthy, I expect him to have a big impact for this Texas offense this year. And then defensively, with linebackers Luke Brockemeyer and DeMarvion Overshone, I think they could be impact players on that side of the ball for the Horns. Number 22, I'm going to go with the Cougars out of Houston. and the American Athletic Conference. You think about the American, they played some talented ball over the years, which is why the Power Five conferences consistently go after their clubs. For head coach Dana Holgerson, he has quarterback Clayton Tune and wide receiver Nathaniel Dell that are going to light up the fences around the AAC. And then you have linebacker Donovan Mooten, who could be an impact player as well. Number 23, I'm going to go with the Gators out of Florida. And the Billy Napier era in Gainesville is here. You have quarterback Anthony Richardson, new system, but let's see if Napier can get the most out of him. You have three seniors on that offensive line, which is going to be important for Florida. And then on the defensive side, free safety Rashad Torrance and edge rusher Brenton Cox could have a big impact for the Gators. Number 24, I'm staying in the Sunshine State, and I'm going to go with the Hurricanes out of Miami, as the arrival of Mario Cristobal has brought some excitement for the first time in a long time in South Florida. Sophomore quarterback Tyler Van Dyke could have an impact for this Canes team, as I really feel that they are a sleeper in the ACC. And finally, the Badgers out of Wisconsin. There's nothing flashy about this program under Paul Chryst, their head coach, but they continue to be one of the most consistent football teams in the nation. Will they get more consistency out of quarterback Graham Mertz this year? That's important. 10 touchdowns and 11 picks last year ain't going to get it done. And if Wisconsin can get more out of their passing game, it's only going to open things up more for running back Braylon Allen, who is one of the better ball carriers in the nation. Now, Wisconsin continues to have one of the best defenses, as they were number one in the nation last year in total defense, and I expect them to be stingy once again this year, led by linebacker Nick Herbig. So that's my top 25 heading into the season. I see the SEC with 7 teams, the Big Ten with 5. I got the Big 12 and ACC with 4. The Pac 12 with 1 to begin the year, but I think it's going to be a stronger finish for the Pac 12 than the start, while both the American and Mountain West each have 1 representative apiece. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I'm signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.